The modern family car has changed. Whereas once we drove sedans and wagons and then we evolved to drive soft rotor SUVs, these days modern families are interested in a bit of space and adventure, which is why this, the Isuzu MU-X, is such a popular choice amongst family buyers. In fact, this was the second best-selling large SUV in 2024, behind only the very similar in concept Ford Everest, and it even beat the Toyota Prado. But with Ford not giving any ground on the Everest and the new Prado already on the road, can this updated MU-X stay at the head of the pack? Well, let's find out. Let's start with the price and features, and there's a lot to discuss here because Isuzu has made some significant changes to the range. Most notable is a new range-topping model, dubbed the X-Terrain. It comes generously equipped with plenty of goodies, but it also has a unique black styling elements to help it stand out from the rest of the lineup. The MU-X range still begins with the LSM grade, with the LSU and LST trim levels also available. Buyers get the choice of a 1.9 or a 3-litre turbo diesel engine and 4x4 or 4x2. Now, prices have increased with the facelift between $1,000 and $2,000 depending on the model. But at the time of launch, Isuzu is offering some very competitive drive-away deals, starting with the LSM 1.9-litre 4x2 for $46,990, then $69,990 for the LST 3-litre 4x4, and the new X-Terrain 3-litre 4x4 can be yours for $73,990. Now, if you want more details of the specification and pricing, because there is a lot of it, make sure you read my in-depth written review at carsguide.com.au. The most notable changes for this updated model are the looks. Isuzu wanted to give the MU-X a more sporty, more aggressive and ultra-modern look. So they've given it a fairly substantial redesign front and back. Now this is the range-topping X-Terrain. This is a new variant in the lineup. And as you can see, it's got a lot of black highlights. But every model in the range has now got a new grille. Now, again, these are blacked out, but you can see there's some horizontal lines across the grille. That's Isuzu's signature look. We've got new bi-LED headlights, which obviously help you see in the dark, but also they just look nice and new. Down here, we've actually got these air curtains, which help with the aerodynamics. They look good. Again, there's angular, more aggressive, bumper design, but it does actually help with the aerodynamics. Meanwhile, at the back, we've got new tail lights. The tailgate itself has been redesigned. We've got changes to the lower part of the bumper, the lower diffuser, if you will. And even the badging has been changed for that sleeker, more ultra-modern look. Inside the cabin has also been given a glow-up with some major design changes, but also more technology. We've got this hexapod design theme that they use on the exterior. You can see that with this new steering wheel, but there's also elements of the aeronautical design theme that they've used, such as this changed up dash fascia. But obviously the big items are the technology. We've got new infotainment screen in the center and a new digital display on the dash. There's also new seats. This is the X-Terrain, so it's got the nice leather trim, nice stitching. It actually looks high quality, but that's a big reason why families especially love these big SUVs, because they're big SUVs. They have lots of space. There's good, I got good room up front, there's good room in the second row, and of course it's a 7-seater, so there's space in the third. Obviously not a lot. These aren't, people movers, but you've got that extra space, and that's another big reason why families like it, because you get that extra flexibility. Okay, now as for the technology, the digital dashboard, it's nice new graphics, it tells you a bit, you got a bit more information, but the big news is the infotainment system. It's got physical dials for the volume and the tune, which is important because, they'd moved away and gone to buttons which weren't quite as easy to use on the move, especially if you're going off-roading, you don't be jolting around trying to adjust a button. It's much easier to grab the knob. But there is good functionality in here. You've obviously got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, even just now you can see you've got the information that you really need. So overall, the technology enhancements make a big difference, I think, to the appeal of the MU-X. Like I said, one of the big reasons families are flocking to these kind of SUVs is the extra space and practicality and the third row. Like I say, it's not you know, like a genuine people mover, like a Kia Carnival or something. But for a 3-row SUV, there's actually decent space in the back, and you still have, if both seats are up, you have about 300 litres of luggage, which is fine. However, if you drop the 3rd row, it actually expands to just over 1,100 litres. So there's really decent room for the whole family when it comes to boot space. While there have been a lot of changes to the MU-X, one thing that has stayed the same is what's under the bonnet. It's still the same choice of a 1.9 or 3 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine. The smaller unit will give you 110 kilowatts and 350 newton meters. The bigger engine will give you 140 kilowatts, 450 newton meters. Both are paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. There's no manual option. But there is the choice of 4x2 or 4x4. You can get that with both engines across the various models. Now, it doesn't sound like much. It's not the punchiest engine in the segment by any stretch, but it still gives you 3.5-ton towing capacity, which again, for a lot of families these days, towing capacity, taking a caravan or taking those things, those toys for the weekend is a big deal. So in that sense, it makes sense that Isuzu's stuck with its proven formula. As for its fuel efficiency, with unchanged powertrains, not surprisingly, there's unchanged fuel consumption. That means the 1.9 litre is rated at 7.4 litres per 100 Ks, and the 3 litre uses 8.3 litres per 100 Ks. Now, Isuzu says the MU-X fuel tank measures 80 litres in both models, which means the 1.9 has a driving range of more than 1,000 Ks, while even the bigger engine has the potential range of more than 950 kilometres. So, what's the new MU-X like to drive? Well, I'm still in the X-Terrain range topper, so as you'd expect, it's got all the niceties, but I know you might think, well, they haven't done anything to the powertrain, so how different is it really going to drive? Isuzu's actually gone to the trouble for this facelift of introducing all new dampers. They've taken a look at the suspension and realised they can do a better job. So it's got different dampers, primarily to improve its on-road performance. And that's important because that is a big reason why this kind of SUV, this ute-based SUV that has off-road capabilities, have become so popular with modern families. They do the things that you want them to do every day. They're practical and spacious to take to the shops, and they drive quite comfortably. They don't have, heavy steering, like it doesn't feel like it's clunky and slow and like you're driving a truck, basically. Like, these modern utes have improved, and so too have these SUVs based on those utes. And the MU-X is a great example of that, where it does feel quite nice to drive on the road. It's got good body control, the steering's nice, the ride is, relatively comfortable. So I can understand why the families want this. And specifically for the MU-X, I would say my advice, strong advice, would be spend the extra dollars on a 3 litre model. The 1.9 does a job, does it, I would say, adequately at best. It's fine, but if you get into hilly terrain, it does labour uphill. If you find yourself towing with it, it might be a struggle. But the 3 litre is a great engine. It pulls really strongly. It's quite smooth. The 6-speed auto does a nice job. It's a really good powertrain. So I'm actually, I don't think they really needed to do too much to mess with it. But overall, I just think it's a nice, family-friendly SUV to drive for those who, maybe you do, whether you live in an urban environment or not, it can do the school run, but it can also take you on those weekend or school holiday or just whenever adventures where you want to get off the beaten track. And that is really the key appeal to vehicles like the MU-X and what makes them such fun family cars. As for its off-road performance, I've got to say I've been really impressed, especially with the X-Terrain, with its shiny black alloys and its 70k price tag. You might think, well, it's more of the looker of the bunch rather than the actual getting rough and dirty and climbing over rocks, but it actually performed really well on, frankly, some very gnarly terrain. With all the different modes and settings and systems that Isuzu offers up in the car, it really did make light work of what was very tough off-road conditions. And I gotta say, again, that's part of the reason why the modern family that wants a bit of fun and a bit of adventure are opting for these kind of SUVs. And in terms of safety, there have been some pretty significant upgrades, and it starts right here with a new stereo camera, which forms part of a fairly comprehensive active safety suite. There's new intelligent active cruise control, the lane keeping assist has been improved, the rear cross traffic brake has been improved, and also at the rear you are going to find a new reversing camera, which actually addresses one of the main criticisms of the old MU-X. But there's also, for the higher grade models, a 360-degree surround camera that will not only make parking easier, but will come in handy if you head off-road. As for its ownership credentials, the MU-X is covered by Isuzu's 6-year, 150,000 kilometre warranty, which in the current market is what I'd call competitive without being class leading. It also comes with a 5-year servicing program, which charges a flat fee of $469 each year for the first 5 years of maintenance. Plus, there's up to 7 years of roadside assistance, so owners should have good peace of mind. So what's the verdict on the new MU-X? Has Isuzu done enough to maintain its modern family popularity, or will the new Prado and the Everest leave it choking in their dust? Obviously, beating the beloved Prado is no mean feat, but even if Isuzu slips back to third place, it should still hold its head up high. And frankly, Toyota should be worried about the MU-X. Isuzu went well beyond a simple midlife facelift for this model, with the suspension changes, the readjusted lineup, and the addition of significant safety features. So that should keep it well and truly on the shortlist for any modern family that needs spacious daily transport, but also the freedom for adventure. If you want to know more about the Isuzu MU-X, make sure you read my in-depth written review that's live at carsguide.com.au.